Good evening, everyone. This lecture will be made special for the English-speaking people. I'm in Israel right now, already a week, Baruch Hashem, so we will still do an English lecture because a lot of people will keep writing, if I can continue to do at least one lecture in English until I come back. Once I come back, B'ezrat Hashem, we'll start, hopefully we'll be able to start the lectures in the synagogues as we used to do on Mondays and Tuesdays in Queens and Brooklyn. This lecture will be Leilui Nishmat David ben Moshe and Farah bat Aaron and Binyamin ben Talat Rachel and Rachamim, and also Lerfuat Yochevet Sarah bat Masha, and also for Leda Kala, actually she already gave birth, for hopefully full recovery, Rikel bat Malka Basha, and also Latzlachat, the success of Mordechai ben Shlomo, Dina Tiferet bat Shlomo, Michaela Cohen, Shlomo Netanel ben Mordechai, Sarah bat Moshe, Rivka bat Moshe, Dov, Shlomo Michael ben Moshe Leiba Cohen. Also Leilui Nishmat Shlomo ben Yaakov v'Chaya Sarah bat Yeshayahu. And also Leilui Nishmat Jose Felix Olreta. As you can see, in a week you get accumulation of a lot of people that needs either Leilui Neshama, Refuah, success, Baruch Hashem, for all of us. I was thinking to speak today a little bit in general about the situation and also about Lashon Hara. Why all of a sudden to make a lecture about Lashon Hara? Because I was thinking, after all the tragedy that we had to go through for more than 3 months by now, March, April, May, now it's June, it's almost 4 months of suffering, you would think that after HaKadosh Baruch Hu threw us out of the synagogue, and after, HaKadosh Baruch Hu showed us that He's not even interested in our Torah by closing all the yeshivot. And He showed us that, all the things that are happening, the sinat chinam, the lack of unity, the racism, and mainly Lashon Hara and murdering each other online with comments and all these things, bullying each other, tons of violence, not necessarily physical violence, but also, verbal. People basically destroyed each other with their mouth. After all of that, I was thinking maybe people will get the lesson. People will finally get the lesson. But it was very, very fast for everyone to go back to their routine as I'm beginning to see more and more poison out there, and maybe we should talk about it now because in America this coming Shabbat will be Parashat Shlach. Shlach Lecha, Hashem said to Moshe Rabbeinu to send the spies. In Israel, this parasha already was last Shabbat. Next parasha will be Korach. It's very interesting that both parashot speaking about Lashon Hara. The Parashat Shlach is Lashon Hara about the Holy Land, about Eretz Israel, which talks a lot about politics, why people do specific things. And Parashat Korach, the same thing. Lashon Hara, the only difference is that this time is the leader of the nation of Israel, Moses. A group of people, as great as they were, chief leaders, following one that instigate, convince everyone to follow him, 250 people coming to rebel against Moshe Rabbeinu, that's Parashat Korach. This what will be in this week in Eretz Israel. Since this is the topic, maybe we should really start from the beginning. One of the most important halachot in Judaism and in life in general, by the way, also the Gentiles, even though they only have 7 laws of Noah, which is 7 main laws, but altogether there is one general rule for the Gentiles, that they're not supposed to do things that is against human logic. Ugly things that it's against human logic, against the acceptable manners, against the acceptable behaving, they're also not allowed to do. So for instance, just to give us an idea, Lashon Hara, speaking gossip about people, ruining someone's character, reputation, that's obviously against human logic, because in the law of United States, one of the laws in the Constitution is that if you ruin someone's character, you ruin his reputation, if he proves that you use lies by ruining his reputation, he can get a lot of money out of you, because you destroyed his character. If everything he said about you was the truth, then the court, the secular court in America, and unfortunately also in Israel, will dismiss the case. Why? There was no lies were found. No lies were found, therefore for them it's kosher. Comes the Torah, the word of God it doesn't matter, it's not kosher whether you use lies, and it's not kosher even if you say the truth. However, when you use lies, it's obviously a much bigger sin. But even when you say the truth and you publish it to the world, they automatically break one of the rules of the Torah of Lashon Hara. And it's also gossip, which is another problem. So also Gentiles are not allowed. So all these news reporters all over the world who murdering people left and right, it's not allowed, even for Gentiles. Needless to say for the Jews that their punishment will be even bigger. Okay, because it's written for them clearly in the Torah, and they read it every once in a while, and they still do it, then obviously makes it much worse. So, let's first a little bit generalize together a little bit just to understand what does it mean Lashon Hara. Lashon Hara means that you go to one individual. Needless to say many, it makes the more people hear it, the worse he gets. And you tell him the truth about one person to embarrass him, to publish private information about him, things that if you would be in a room you would not dare to say. And even if you would dare to say, let's say you're arrogant, you have chutzpah, you don't care, you would say it even in his face, it's still not allowed to say. For instance, you come to say to someone, oh, this guy doesn't take showers, he smells very bad. Why would you do that? If it's a woman who wants to marry him and she asks you, should I marry this guy? Now things like this can have connection to her life quality, it can destroy their life. If you know her, you know she's going to suffer from it. Then in specific cases, you have permission to say the truth when it comes to match people or to help them to get their match. Then obviously there is a law, it's called Lo ta'amod al dam recha. Do not stand when the blood of your friend is spilling. This is an expression for all kinds of help that you are obligated to give to a person that is in time of trouble. He trapped, he fell, he needs to get up, his animal collapsed, he's losing money, the electric in his house is all on and you have a way to shut it off because he's overseas, he's going to lose a lot of money until he comes back. There's a water leak in his place. You can call a plumber to fix it and later on collect the money. All kinds of things like this. It falls in a category of Lo ta'amod al dam recha. So when you see an individual is about to marry to someone else, and that someone else is a crook, is a liar, is a thief, is a person that is not, exactly what they're looking for, and they don't know it, then you have an obligation to save them from making the mistake of their life. But other than that, or other cases when one individual is about to form a partnership with another person, is about to sign a contract to become a partner, and you know that that person is a crook, is a liar, is not paying, is doing all kinds of other illegal tricks, or already have records with the police and the FBI, and your friend is not aware of, then it's become your obligation to warn him before it's too late for him. But other than that, just for people's curiosity or just because you're bored to go and talk against people, you're not allowed. There's one more permission to publish people. The Gemara says, "Mefarsemim et hachanafim mipnei chilul Hashem." You have to publish the chanafim. I'll explain what does it mean chanafim in a second. Mefarsemim the chanafim, publish the chanafim to prevent chilul Hashem. Chilul Hashem is when something happens that actually affect and lower the reputation of Hashem and the religion. For instance, if you see a Jewish person with a yarmulke stealing in a supermarket, and the people who saw it, first thing goes into their mind is, what kind of a religion is that? that the people that practice this religion are stealing like lowlives in a supermarket or anywhere else. Automatically it makes people look down at the religion or not interested to become religious, because if that's the face of the religious people, I don't want anything to do with that. That's called Chilul Hashem. Any kind of embarrassment to the religion, directly or indirectly, falls in a category of Chilul Hashem. Chilul Hashem, the word Chilul comes like Chilul Shabbat. Chilul comes from the word Chol. Chol means regular, not holy. We have Shabbat, Shabbat it's holy. There is all kinds of holy things in the Torah. Chol means the opposite of holy, regular. 6 days are regular days, 1 day is holy, it's Shabbat. Holidays are holy. Rest of the year, it's regular days. If you make Shabbat a regular day, you are mechalel Shabbat. You destroy the holiness of Shabbat. Hashem is holy, the Torah is holy, and every religious Jew must be holy. Every Jew must be holy. Secular Jews have no idea what they live for. How do you expect them to act holy? It's a little bit too much to ask. But those who know Torah, those who went to yeshiva, those who learn, those who listen to lectures from the right speakers, and they behave bad, what they do is they take a holy thing and turn it into a simple, regular, nothing special thing. They lower the holiness, and they have no permission. The Torah says you must be holy because I'm holy. The Torah is holy. The nation of Israel is holy. You are my children. I chose you from all the nation. You have to be holy because I'm holy. You're representing me. All these expressions and verses in the Torah leaves no doubt that the Jew must be holy at any second of his life. And causing people to disrespect the religion because of your action, or because of the way you dress, or because of the way you smell, or because of the way you eat, or because of the curses that comes out of your mouth, all these things bring disgrace to the reputation of Judaism and to the reputation of the religion. So this is clear now. That's called Chilul Hashem. Now what does it mean, mefarsemim et hachanafim mipnei Chilul Hashem? Publish the Hanafim. Who are the Hanafim? Hanafim are people that from the outside looks very righteous. They may have a long beard and a hat. They dress religious. From the outside they pretend they're religious. They come to synagogue. They pray. They sometimes say words of Torah. They pretend they're very good, when it comes to religion. But indoors, it's the total opposite. They steal, they lie. When they speak to people on the phone, they deceive in a business. They all do all kinds of other sins in hidden doors, that nobody is aware of. So if someone is aware of that, he has an obligation to publish these fakers in order for later on, when Hashem will punish these wicked people, everybody will come and say, it's not fair. Why God is punishing righteous people? This guy was religious. He was going to the synagogue every day. He had a long beard. He had a yarmulke, a tzitzit. Why God gave him such a horrible end? Everybody begin to question the judging of Hashem. And people are now going lower in their religious level because they become weak. When they see supposedly people that look righteous are suffering or they get punishment, automatically it affects a lot of weak people to become even more weak. So someone that knew that these people are nothing but wicked, they're very wicked, he has an obligation to tell the people it's not true what you think, these people were faker and this is it. Of course, because there are many, many rules applied to this, no one should do anything before they consult with the Talmid Chacham, with the Rabbi that knows all the laws. Sometimes you're allowed to publish someone you're not allowed. I give one example. When that person is making damage to the public, then it becomes a necessity. It's very, very necessary to publish him. The faster, the better. And all over, even to invest money in it. Why? To save your brothers and sisters to fall in his hands. I will give you example. If you have a person that is known as a pedophile, he does horrible things to kids. He looks religious, he comes to places, he was caught once, he was caught twice. It's already known that he's sick, he cannot control his actions. You don't have personally anything against him. He never did anything to you or your family, but you know he's been doing it in places where he goes. Every time he will come to a place, you have an obligation to expose him to the people, to be very careful and to watch their children. You're not doing it to hurt him, you are doing it to save the public. That's an obligation that the Torah says. You must save your brothers and sisters. Don't let their blood spill while you're standing and looking. So anything that you can actually warn a person and you did not warn him, and as a result of that a damage come to him, you are a sinner. You are one of the reasons why this person got what he got. Of course, in the end, everybody gets what Hashem decided he's going to get one way or the other. But we have an obligation to follow the rules of the Torah, and there are few solid rules to warn people before it's too late for them. I give another example. There are speakers today that come pretend to be Jewish speaker, pretend to teach the Jewish religion, but instead of teaching the Jewish religion, which they sometimes do, some of the things they say it's correct. It comes from the Gemara, it comes from Shulchan Aruch, it comes from Ashkafa books. Of course, you'll never find a speaker that for the whole hour that he speaks, everything is heresy. No. There's always going to be some truth in the lectures. That's why the Gemara says every lie, in order for the lie to exist for a long time, has to have some truth in it. If the entire story is a lie, then obviously, very quickly will collapse and everyone will know it was a lie. But if some of the story is the truth, then there is a chance that this lie can last sometimes years and sometimes decades. Why? Because the truth gives us the power to remain for the time being. Because when you write the word emet, it's in Hebrew, it's Aleph has 2 legs in the bottom of the letter, Mem has 2 legs in the bottom, and Taf has 2 legs. Meaning the truth, the word truth in Hebrew, it's emet, 3 letters, and each letter has in the bottom 2 legs to show you that the truth is solid. On the other hand, lie in Hebrew, it's sheker. Shin has 1 leg, the dot in the bottom, Kuf has 1 leg, and Resh has 1 leg, to show you that the lie stands on 1 leg. How long a person can stand on 1 leg? Even 1 hour, 2 hours, he falls. He is not solid, and eventually the lie has to collapse. Also, Aleph, it's the first letter, Emet is starting with the first letter in the Aleph Bet, Aleph, Mem is the middle one, and Taf is the last one, to show you from the beginning of the world until the end, the book of God is the only truth of the world, is the Torah. Everything that came later on, it's all fake, full of mistakes, full of heresy, full of lies, and the Torah is solid as a divine book, is the only book of God. The written Torah together combined with the oral Torah, what we call today Judaism. So, Sheker, it's 3 letters that are attached to each other. 1, 2, 3. It's not the beginning of the alphabet, the middle and the end like the Emet. So Shin is and Kuf and Resh, right? Sheker, Kuf. It should have been Kuf, Resh, Shin. So the order of the letters is mixed to show you that the lies is everywhere and confuse everyone. Emet, it goes in the right order, from the bottom to the top. Aleph, first letter, Taf is the last one. But Sheker is 3 letters, it's temporary, it shows you that 1, 2, 3, and it's over. It's not from the beginning to the end. There's a lot of hints about it. So, in order for a person that his nonsense will make an effect on people, has to mix some truth in it. There are many infidels today that make lectures and publish them on YouTube, as I warned from them, and I have my list. There are 14 people on that list. I have a lot more people, but the reason that they're not in a list is either because they're very not popular, so better not to even make them popular, because people out of curiosity will go to try to find out who they are, and as a result of that they're going to go and hear more heresy, which is not allowed. And some of them are just wicked people. But if they give a speech, the speech itself does not have heresy. They're just wicked in their private life. It's not my job to publish Lashon Hara about people who make sins. That's the problem with Hashem. it doesn't affect the listeners. When it affects the listeners, it's my obligation and everybody else, not only mine. It's everyone's obligation to expose these fakers to the world, that people will know not to listen to their lectures. Why? Because they teach lies in their lecture. For instance, you're allowed to start the car on Shabbat and take your wife to a beach. Not allowed to start the car on Shabbat, it's death penalty, it's cut for the soul, you're losing your Jewish identity, it's not life and death matter. And to go to a beach, a mixed beach with naked people, it's arek velo avo, you have to die before you agree to go there. You're not allowed to step there, ever, once in your life. Just 5 minutes before I started this lecture, somebody asked me a question that he wants to send his boys to learn surfing in a beach in Israel, close to Tel Aviv. He say, oh, obviously my kids are religious kids. It's a family who made Aliyah to Israel a few years ago. And they try to be religious as much as they can. And they, Baruch Hashem, do a pretty good job. And all of a sudden, the wife got something. Let's get the kids to have a hobby. No problem. To have hobby, no problem. Life needs some spice. And if it makes you happy and it takes some tension away from everyday's life, why not? As long as the hobby is kosher. You play a little sport, you run, you do something, fine. You listen to kosher music, no problem. But when the hobby will destroy your soul, obviously that's not the right thing to do. So I asked him, what do you think will happen to these boys, teenagers, young boys? They're going to go to a beach. They have to go through the water. They have to pass by the entire beach with tons of naked people. Beach is a beach. It's a place that people have no respect. They come out, Hashem Yirachem, sometimes like animals, the way they dress. Animals don't dress, if you get the point. They come out, and the kids, religious kids, will have to go and see all this. And then by the time they get in the water, tomorrow, and they have to go learn in a yeshiva, or to be connected to holiness, where do you think their mind's going to be? Destroy their soul. Do you have any permission to send kids to a mixed beach? Just they have to pass through the beach to get to the water. But that's enough. The damage is done for life already. So this is just an example. So if somebody knows that someone is about to do it, he has an obligation to wake him up from his illusion and explain to him the consequences of something he's about to do. When someone spread heresy, you must warn the people, that's not Lashon Hara, that's not Motzi Shem Ra, there's nothing personal here. You do it because you don't want those soul murderers to succeed in their mission. What's their mission? Either to teach you the wrong halachot, to teach you the opposite of the Jewish hashkafa, the Jewish ideology. They want to gain popularity, money. Some of them, they just want to be special. What am I going to speak about? What every other rabbi, kosher rabbi speaks? It's boring. People already heard it everywhere. Let me be unique. Out of his ego, he wants to be unique. So he begins to speak philosophy, like some people told me about Santa Claus. He's deep. I enjoy listening to him, but he's deep. I'm going to show you a lot of Christians that are also very deep. You won't understand a lot of what they speak. Scientists are very deep. Some Muslims are deep. Some Hindus are deep. Some Buddhists are deep. All kinds of other cults. They will tell you all kinds of things. It sounds very interesting, but it's not the truth. In religion, you must stick to the truth. There's no permission to go 1% off the truth. Definitely not on purpose. Some people are naive. They don't know the 13th principle of Judaism. They don't learn enough Torah to know what God loves and what He hates. They don't know which speaker is kosher and not. And even those non-kosher speakers, when they listen to them, they won't know what parts of their lecture is heresy and what part of the lecture is kosher. How can you let people like this listen? I want to remind everyone that listening to apikorsim and minim and people that are kofrim in the Torah, like the former chief rabbi of England that said that there was no Adam and Eve and the exodus of Egypt never happened and it's all a parable. And every time something in the Torah does not match what the scientists claim, then you have to dismiss the Torah and follow the scientists and to assume that the Torah was only a parable. Such heresy. You don't even hear heresy like this by Muslims and Christians and anybody else, even by the secular here in Israel. You don't hear such nonsense. An average Israeli will tell you, either I believe in the Torah or I don't. If I believe in the Torah, of course there was Adam and Eve, where we all came from. This is just an example. Or people that promote homosexuality by saying it's nothing major. It's a sin, it's a sin. It's just like every other sin. It's not true. It's the worst sin because it has the biggest punishment. And the punishment is death by stoning and cut for the soul. That's what's written in the Torah. And the Torah called it abomination to show you how much God hates this kind of behaving. Anything that goes against the laws of nature, it's rebelling against the creator of the world. Even before we're getting into religion, even people who never heard of such a thing, Torah, they never heard that God gave a book to the Jewish nation in Mount Sinai in front of millions of witnesses. They never heard of it. They only know somebody made the world. It's common sense. The world is designed beautifully for people. The people dominate the world. Everything was made for us. Oxygen everywhere, water, trees, fruits, vegetables, everything is organized. Animals, eyes, brain, stomach, blood. Obviously, none of that could have happened by itself and connect perfectly in a perfect timing and all this. Obviously, every normal human being that have a brain obviously knows someone made the world regardless of religion. And when you see that there are people in the world that try to redesign the law of nature and to say that male can be with male and female with female and people with animals and all kinds of horrible other things, and it doesn't really matter whether it's 1% of the population in the world or 50% of the population in the world. The number does not change the fact. The fact is that there are people who declare a war against the rules and regulation and the laws of nature that the creator of the world decided to make in this world. And they declare a war against the creator. And they know, these people, regardless of religion, that their life comes from the creator. They understand that. They knew they came from a drop of seed and they grew up into a human being and they know a lot of things. And in time of trouble, they scream, oh God, help me, please, no, don't do this to me. Obviously, they're all believers in God. And they know He made the world, and maybe they don't know about the religion, maybe they never learned Torah, but they know there is a boss to the world. Cooperating with criminals who rebel against the creator of the world, obviously it's a serious crime. Coming in a lecture with a beard, with a hat, pretending you're a rabbi, pretending you represent the Torah and said, it's no big deal, it's just a sin. That's a huge crime. Someone like this can never, ever, ever be on a stage or in front of a camera and spread his heresy. And everyone who can stop it by letting people to be careful from these kinds of infidels has an obligation to do it and nothing to be afraid of. Hashem will pay him a huge reward. If you have a doubt, you're not sure if this person is an infidel or not, then you have to consult with the Talmid Chacham. Even that it was clear to me, like the sun is rising. Very clear. I consulted with few big Talmidei Chachamim, serious rabbis who have lots of experience. I let them listen to this recording. To some of them I had to translate the words because they're not English speaking. And after everyone unanimously said this is very big infidels, immediately I made my list and published it. So this is not falling into the laws of Lashon Hara or Motzi Shem Ra or gossip, because the purpose is to warn people not to destroy their soul. We have an obligation. We try to save soul, not to destroy soul. Okay? Sometimes I hear people in lectures make innocent mistake. The rest of the lecture is fine. The general line of these speakers is okay. They make some mistakes. Okay, people can make mistakes. Even teacher in school can make mistake. A math teacher can sometimes make mistakes. He can find out his mistake a week later. Or, many other people can make mistakes. We are human beings. Mistake can be tolerated as long as when you bring it to the attention of the speaker, later on he's going to fix his mistake. And I did it with few rabbis in Israel. When they made mistakes in their speeches by a video that was sent to me, I contacted them and I said, what you say is against this Gemara, it's against this, it's against here. I showed them the sources. Sometimes they right away admit it. They say, oh, you're right. I lost my mind for a second. Sometimes they try to argue. Sometimes they were convinced after a few days. Sometimes they did not want to change. Okay. If it's one incident, twice in few years, you can live with that. But when it's a systematic heresy, every lecture of those clowns have heresy in it. I understand those who smoke drugs, it opens the mind. This is the way a rabbi is supposed to talk. This is what you want to teach the public, to encourage them to do more things to destroy their brain. Don't you know the Torah said that it's not allowed to use drugs? Even cigarettes is not allowed to smoke. Cigarettes is not allowed to be smoking. It's the Torah says, "V'nishmartem me'od lenafshotechem." Cigarette kills. It causes cancer. It causes a lot of other diseases. It makes a person unable to breathe clearly. It makes all kinds of other problems in life. It smells bad. It ruins the shlom bayit. It makes other people around them suffer. There is all kinds of problems with that. To say, oh, it's no problem. No. It is a big problem. Someone who is about to start, obviously you can save him before it's too late. Those who are already addicted to it, it's much harder to get them out of their addiction, as we all know. Same thing when someone loves to eat all day. It's very difficult to convince them not to eat small meals 2-3 times a day. It's very difficult because they like to nash all the time. That's another addiction. Let's move on. So Lashon Hara is when you go just to ruin someone's name because you have something against him, you hate him, you're jealous with him, whatever the reasons are. You can't see him succeeding. For personal reason, you tell other people all kinds of things about him. If everything you say is the truth, then you only committed a sin of Lashon Hara. Lashon Hara means the truth. If you add even one detail that it's incorrect, you exaggerate it with the details, you say something that he never said, or anything like that, then it becomes a war sin. It's become motzi shem ra, making up a bad reputation to that person based on nothing true, or details that are not true in a story. That's much worse, obviously, and the punishment for that will be even worse than the one who speaks Lashon Hara. One way or the other, if a person made that mistake, he has to go to the people that heard that from him, because they also get punished, not just the speaker, the listener. And sometimes the person that they speak about also get punished. For instance, if he behaves terribly in public, and that's Chilul Hashem, and then people speak about him behind his back, he was the cause of these people speaking about him or listening to Lashon Hara about him because of the way he behaves. That's why he also gets some kind of a punishment. Not as much as the speaker and the listener, but he also consider a part of the reason why people made a sin because of him. So, when a person comes to you and wants to tell you something bad about someone just for fun, because he's bored, or because he hates him, or because whatever the case is, immediately tell him, no, I don't want to hear, don't speak Lashon Hara, please. And even if we spoke without warning you in advance, and you already heard it, you say, I don't believe it, and for me, I did not hear it. I'm not accepting this Lashon Hara. Please don't talk to me anymore about people. This is the way you should behave. Don't feel bad, even if it's your brother. Don't speak to me bad about people. You have something specifically to warn me. You know that I'm about to give him a loan and you know he's a thief. Oh, that's a different story. It's called letoelet. For good sake, the Torah permitted. There are rules. Sometimes it's mitzvah to speak bad about someone. Why? Because he's saving the life of the person. He's about to fall in his hand. You understand? I remember one time we had someone that was very impressive look, long beard, hat, looked like somebody important. It came to my attention from few different people that he took money from them and he never pays back. Play games with them, hang up the phone on them. He said to one person that came from Israel, give me $20,000 that you brought with you. I'm going to keep it for you while you're working for me, because you cannot open a bank account. I'll keep the money for you. This poor guy, this is all he saved in years of work. And he ate it up. And then he went to a restaurant, ordered a catering for some event, $3,500. The owner of the restaurant used to know me personally, called me to say what's going on. I trusted him. He gave me a check. The check was fake. There's no account like this. Now he play games with me. And later on, he came to the same person and said to him, by the way, I have a check that someone gave me for $6,000. Take it. Give me now, I owe you $3,500. Give me $2,500 and deposit this check. It's not from me, from someone else. He was about to do it and he called me up. He said, well, you're not going to believe what happened. This guy came, showed with a check. He told me, this check is good, give me the change. I told him, you're out of your mind. You're about to give him the check. Tell him, come back when the check clear. I'll give you the difference. Of course, the check was fake again. So people like this, it's mitzvah to publish them. Whether it's a letter, whether it's messages, today people on WhatsApp groups, mitzvah to expose them. I warned someone from that person, he still went and gave him the money and the money was gone. Same guy with the $20,000, all his life saving up to that date were all gone. So what's going on? When you see people like this, they have a bad habit to steal people's money. You have to warn them. If you know there's a store, they sell fake merchandise, they use people's credit card without permission, they give you defected merchandise, and you know it for a fact, you have to warn people from them. It's not a Lashon Hara. Because if you don't speak, many of innocent kosher people will go there and be a victim. If you're not sure, that's why you have rabbis for. Make sure you have a kosher rabbi, Talmid Chacham, that knows halachot. He will get back to you and give you the answer to your questions. And that's how you act, based on that Torah. Rabbi, this is what's going on. Should I do it? Should I not do it? Am I allowed? Am I not allowed? This is the way it should be. Let's move on. We saw in the parasha, Baruch Hashem, as I said, in Israel we already read it. You're going to read it in New York and in Europe. Every other place in exile, there was 2 days of Shavuot. Therefore, the second day was on Shabbat. So we did not read the regular Parashat HaShavua. That should have been Ba'alotcha. And because of that, it was postponed 1 week. But in Israel, they have only 1 day Yom Tov. And it was only Friday. Shabbat was already a regular weekday. So on Shabbat, they read Ba'alotcha, and then the week after, which was 2 days ago, they read Parashat Shlach. In America and in Europe, it's going to be, Be'ezrat Hashem, this coming Shabbat. But it's very interesting, because both parashot, what we're going to read in America, what we're going to read in Israel, both of them speaking about Lashon Hara, and the devastating consequences of Lashon Hara. Let's talk a little bit about the spies. Moshe Rabbeinu decided to send spies based on his own opinion. Hashem already told him, I'm bringing you to a great land of milk and honey and everything, great food and all 4 seasons at the same time. It's a fantastic place, land that I love, land that my eyes is focusing on that land from the beginning of the year until the end of the year, more than other parts of the world. That's the Holy Land. The gate to heaven is right there in Jerusalem. All these things they already knew in advance. They go now, because of their sins, Hashem postponed the arrival to Israel by 40 years until the entire generation will die. As results of that, only 2 people that came out of Egypt actually enter Israel, which is Joshua and Caleb. They are the 2 good spies that try to protect the reputation of the Holy Land. So the spies are leaders. They're all leaders in the desert. The important people, as the Torah say, Anashim Chashuvim, Anshe Shem, people with good name, good reputation. Rashi writes, at that time when they went on their assignment, there were still kosher, righteous people. And now they're going to Israel and they describe basically what they saw. They saw lots of funerals. They saw big walls around the cities, which will be very difficult to break through. Arim Betzurot. They saw giant people. There were few giant people over there. So basically, they say the truth. They even brought fruits, huge grapes and all kinds of fruit to show you how big the fruits are. In reality, when you really analyze the parasha, you ask yourself one question. What did they do wrong? You send me as a spy. I'm a CIA spy, I'm a Mossad spy. My job is to give you a correct report. Whatever I see, you see the information and you make a decision as a prime minister or the head of the army what to do in a war. War without spies, without intelligence, it will be very difficult because you don't know where to go, where to attack, where to you can be attacked. That's why you have intelligence, that they give you information always in advance, like based on that you know what to do. So the spies are describing exactly what they've seen. They went to Israel, for 40 days they went the entire land of Israel. Rashi writes something very interesting. Eretz Israel is 400 al 400. It's 400 parsa on 400 parsa. The calculation, a person cannot cover the entire land. Remember, they walk, or even if you say they have donkeys, it's still not enough to cover the entire Israel from top to the bottom and from left to right, from south to east. Impossible group of people to cover the entire Israel. Today we have cars, it's much easier, but even today it would be difficult. But back then for sure there's no chance. But Hashem made them a miracle. He made like fitzat haderech, that everything was done miraculously. So we know it's, in other words, you have a miracle here, and we learn from here something very interesting. Now while you are in the middle of a scene, which we're going to explain what was the scene, you are in the middle of a scene, you have bad plans, you have a wrong agenda, you're going against the will of God, at the same time He's making miracles for you. How can it be? Sometimes people think that because things went smooth, that means it's the will of Hashem. Not true. Sometimes it's the exact other way around. The Satan sometimes helps you. He wants you to make the scene. I remember one time, there were 3 guys came to me for Shabbat, 20 years ago, approximately. 2 of them were positive, 1 of them was negative. Meaning 2 were interested to be by us for Shabbat. They're all not religious, all 3. They're not Shomer Shabbat. But 2 came with good intention to see Shabbat, to enjoy. And that one was dragged by them, come. Obviously, when he sits in Shabbat table, we sing, we talk Divrei Torah. It was so impure, this guy. Nothing even penetrated to him. I saw how he moves, he's nervous. Maybe he wanted to smoke. Sometimes people, it's very hard for them without cigarettes on Shabbat. Later on, they say, we're going to take a walk in the neighborhood. Later on, I asked them, where is the 3rd guy? And we don't know. He disappeared. What do you mean? He didn't say anything. We don't know where he went. We went to the room. His bag was still there. Nobody knows where he disappeared. We look for him, Friday night, disappeared. Shabbat all days wasn't there. I said to myself, where can he go? Shabbat. Where can he go? His stuff is here. His wallet is there. Doesn't even money on him to take a cab, something. Motzei Shabbat, they took his stuff, they left. For years, I did not know what happened with this guy. It was a mystery. A few years ago, I went to a wedding in Queens Boulevard, Bukharian wedding. We came to say for a few minutes Mazal Tov, right to the chuppah. As I walk up the stairs, I see a guy with a beard, hat, look very religious. Rabbi, wow, I'm so happy to meet you. I looked at him, I didn't recognize him. He said, you don't recognize me, right? I said, no, I see so many faces now, always I recognize people. I was by your house for Shabbat. I say, yeah, wow, I'm surprised I don't remember you. So, of course you don't remember me. I didn't have this beard and hat. I am the guy that came with 2 other guys and ran in the middle of Shabbat. As soon as I remembered that, I said, wow, for years I'm dying to know what happened with you. He said to me, listen, Rabbi, it was too heavy for me, I was so much into the nonsense, I was totally secular. It was too much for me. I wasn't ready mentally for that. So I decided to run back home. So I asked him, but how did you get back to Queens, or Brooklyn it was actually. How did you go back to Brooklyn? You left your stuff. He said, you're not going to believe what a miracle happened to me. You're not going to believe. What happened? He said that he went to the center of Monsey. He was standing over there where the stores were, right in the center of Monsey. And he tried to get a cab. And a cab came. He was speaking Russian, this guy. That's one of his languages. And a Russian guy came and, he pulled him over, a taxi. And he told him, listen, I'm stuck here. I have to get to Brooklyn. And I don't have my wallet. I lost everything. And the guy agreed to take him to Brooklyn for free. I don't know, maybe he told him, get there, I'll go upstairs and give you the money, but he trusted him. He was willing to give him a ride to Brooklyn. So what happened? Hashem made him a miracle, sent him a taxi to take him back to Brooklyn. Since when Hashem helps a person that is doing such a horrible thing? First of all, it's Mechalel Shabbat. Second, he leaves the house where people hosting him without saying a word, and people would worry about him. He doesn't care. Very selfishly, he's doing such thing. And what happened? Against all odds, a taxi comes. It's very difficult to find a taxi without calling in advance. It's not Manhattan. You have thousands of yellow cabs everywhere. This is a very quiet area. On Friday night, there's not one car in Monsey. All of a sudden, a taxi of a goy showed up. Why? Hashem made him a miracle. Because always the Gemara said, בדרך שאדם רוצה ללך, מוליכים אותו. You choose the path where you want to be. You want to go with me or you want to go against me. Either way, I will continue to give you oxygen. I will continue to give you parnasa, to make a living, a house, clothing, watch, cars, business, wife, children, oxygen, health. It's all from me. You may ask, why are you giving me so much? I'm such a sinner. I'm such a faker. I'm such a crook. I'm such a liar. I'm such a Mechalel Shabbat. I'm such an idol worshipper. I'm such Machtia Rabim. Why would you do so much for me, Hashem? Don't worry. Nothing is for free. One day I will hand you the bill. You need this. You need a house. You need a family. You need food. You need oxygen. I'm giving it to you. But I will serve you with the bill. When you die, you come to a trial, 1 year trial. You stand in front of me and we will analyze what I gave you and what you did with that. If you use everything I gave you to do positive things, to help the world, to make you and your children and your family much better, to be devoted to Torah, to help, to donate money to the right places, only to the right places. Donating to places that are not kosher, it's a big sin. You're not going to get any reward for it. You're going to get 100% punishment for that. If you donate to churches, you're donating to mosques that they scream over there to murder all Jews and Americans, you become a part of the crime. If you sponsor people that spread heresy, you become a part of the crime. You understand? So every time, or if you give money to all kinds of places that they're not spreading heresy, but the way they teach makes everyone comfortably now. Don't worry, you're all righteous, you have nothing to worry, Hashem loves you, He loves everyone equally, everyone is His children, whether you Shomer Shabbat, whether you're not Shomer Shabbat, whether you are honest, whether you're a thief, whether you're a liar, Hashem loves everyone. Total baloney, it's all a lie. That's not what the Torah say. The Torah say that there are people Hashem loves and people He hates, literally hates. And the Rambam, the top authority in Jewish halacha, almost the whole Shulchan Aruch is based on the Rambam. Rambam writes in the laws of tshuva, repentance, 100%. Yesterday, you were hated and despicable and pushed away, and today you are loved and welcome and a friend. What happened? You became a Baal Tshuva. You stopped being Mechalel Shabbat. You stopped to steal. You stopped to lie. You started to dress modest. You stop making all kinds of sins you used to do. You become more and more religious. You're on a roll. You're growing now spiritually. From a hated creature, you became a very loved creature. What changed the status of you as a hated person as opposed to a loved person? Your actions. Same thing happened with the people of Nineveh, the Goyim in Syria. Hashem sent Jonah the prophet, John the prophet, all the way, it's close to Syria, Nineveh. He told them, God said to me, in 40 days we'll destroy all of you. Why? You're all idol worshippers, thieves, whatever they do. You have 40 days to repent. If you will repent, maybe God will forgive you. And they did take it serious. The king, all the people, they wore sack, ashes. They fasted every day. They made the animal fast. After 40 days, it's written in a book of Yonah, which we read it in Maftir Yonah in Yom Kippur. Hashem saw that these Gentiles changed their action. It does not say Hashem saw that they were fasting. Fasting helps a lot. We fast on Yom Kippur. It means it helps. Suffering as an atonement on Yom Kippur, it's good. But for the Goyim, they all fasting, wearing sack, putting ashes on their head, praying to God for forgiveness, and change their bad actions, bad habits. They worked on themselves. The king probably gave them some speeches over there. Everyone who steal, stop. Everyone who make all kinds of other sins, stop it. Become ethical. Fix your bad ways. People started to become better, and Hashem forgave them for the time being and canceled the bad decree. So what do we see? The power of repentance. What make you from a hated person to a loved person? Changing of your actions. You can pray non-stop. It will help, but it will not fix the problem completely. You can give tons of charity. It will help a lot. It can save you from death. It can save you from tragedies. It can save you from corona pandemic. Of course. It's a big effect. But it won't change 100% your situation if you continue to be Mechalel Shabbat and a thief and Lashon Hara and eat pork. You still have a serious problem. So obviously, besides giving charity, you have to work on yourself. Of course, Hashem knows it's not overnight. It may take years. But you have to really care. So once you get on a roll on the direction to Hashem, Rabbeinu Yonah writes, it's called Mityatzvim al Darkei HaTshuva. Is already aiming on the right path, the right direction to repentance. Even though he didn't get all the way to Hashem, like the Torah says, "V'shavta ad Hashem Elokecha v'shamata bekolo," and as you return all the way to Hashem and you start listening to Him and obey His rules. Right after that, He says, and then Hashem will have mercy on you and will gather you back to Israel, and obviously the rest of the blessings. So it's very, very clear. It's written in the Gemara, Ptach li petach kepitcho shel machat. Open me the size of a needle, and I will open you the hole. Right? Big time, much bigger. Why? Because you made the first step. After you return to me, that's when I looked at you completely different. It's also written in the book of Ezekiel. Right in the beginning there it says that Veshuv harasha mirishuto, when the wicked person returned from his evil way, from his rishuto, from his wickedness, and lo tizacharna lo kol ha'raot ha'ele, all these bad things that he did will not be remembered to him, meaning it will be cleaned slowly away from his file. Why would it happen? Because he's finally on the way to become righteous. That's very clear. We spoke about it hundreds of times over the years. So therefore, even when you donate, you have to be very, very careful not to give to infidels that spread heresy. Not to give to organizations, big organizations. They have hundreds of employees, all kinds of president, vice president, the secretaries, everybody takes a piece from the cake. In the end, almost nothing goes into the cause. And I know it for a fact. And sometimes you look at their salaries of the CEO, hard to believe. This is what I'm giving my money for. But even if it's a kosher organization, with kosher people, all it needs one employee over there to steal from the money. And even if nobody steals, they still have tons of expenses. Buildings, rents, mortgages, cars, leases, phone, electric, cleaning people, all kinds, so much advertisement, dinners that they make, all kinds of gifts they send to people, that gives them donations. In the end, minimum 50% of the donation went to the garbage. Miscellaneous, toilet paper, shampoo, soap, coffee machines, water machine, most of it goes not to the cause you want. So why giving big organization to begin with? You want to support Torah? You can support directly Avrech that sits and learns Torah and is poor. Directly, with no middlemen. You want to do Kiruv? I always say to people, you don't even have to send directly donation to my website. Order the CDs and you give them out. You buy them for $1 each. What can be better than that? 30 hours of lecture for $1. Spread them, put them in places, pizza shop, supermarket. Problem is that most people are busy. They don't have time to go and give it out, or sometimes they're embarrassed to hand it to people. So we do it for them. I just sent a few thousand CDs, 1,000 here, 1,000 there. Where does money come from? From the donations. USBs that we're giving now in Israel in the lectures, books that we're giving them out, CDs that we give everywhere. Where does it come from? From people that donate money. But the good thing is that 100% of the donations here go to the cause. No building, no mortgages, no car leases. It's an army of volunteers that are, Baruch Hashem, with Hashem's help. Hashem made it for me, not me. I don't take even 1% credit for it. Sometimes you really do things. You go, you run, you try, you convince people. In my case, that's 100% Hashem for very, very simple reason. Why? All these people came to me on their own. I want to help you out. I want to volunteer. Shipping guy, boom. People that make the movies come. Yes, there's expenses. Sometimes you need to buy software. Sometimes you need to buy laptops, special laptop for graphic design. There's thousands of dollars expenses. But in general, people that do the work, every country I go, I have a personal assistant who comes, picks me up, take me to this, takes care of the lecture, if needs chairs to be organized. Hashem sends great volunteers. Every place and place, whether you go to Mexico, whether you go to Panama, whether you go to Europe or Italy or Holland or any other place I went, there's always at least one person, and sometimes a group, that do everything, do the whole job. They take it on themselves. Sometimes they even pay money from their pocket to do it. And here in Israel, we have a team of more than 20 people. 20 people that work, some of them full-time, some of them part-time. It would cost millions of dollars salaries over the years. Baruch Hashem, we didn't have these expenses. These large organizations have to pay all these salaries. That's why a lot of the money doesn't go to the cause. You have to be clever when you invest, just like when you invest in business, in real estate, in diamonds or whatever. You have to invest in kiruv, but to productive kiruv. And not to people who tell the wicked people, Hashem loves all of you. The Rebbe promised all of you will be in Olam Haba, and you have a share to the world to come. First of all, it's a lie. It's against what the Gemara said in Masechet Sanhedrin. The Gemara said Jews supposed to have a share to the world to come, but here are the Jews who have no share to the world to come. There's a list of people. Some of them are infidels, people that spread heresy, people that make big sins in public with no shame, people that say Moshe Rabbeinu modified the Torah, people that don't believe in the oral Torah, people that don't believe in the resurrection of the dead, people that don't believe the Messiah would come and save the world and correct the world. There's a huge list of people who have no share to the world to come. Even someone who insults a person in public can lose his share to the world to come. Someone that ruins the character and the reputation out of jealousy, out of anger, out of personal reasons, embarrassed him everywhere. In a minute he loses his share to the world to come. Someone who turned a Jew into the hands of the authorities without specific permission from a Jewish court. That first he went to the Beit Din, and the Beit Din gave him permission to go to secular court or a Goyish court. If he does not have such a referral, and he went on his own and sued another Jew in secular court in Israel or a non-Jewish court in America, immediately he lost his share to the world to come. That's called Mosrim, or like the Ashkenazim say, Moiser. Moiser, Moser, same word, just different pronunciation. Moser means when you take a Jew, even that is a sinner or criminal, and turn him into the hand of the authorities. Why? You hate him, he stole money from you, he did something, he made a damage to you. Immediately you go to the authorities and report him. First you have to take him to Beit Din and say what he did. He owes me money, I bought from him and he gave me the wrong thing, this is the damage. The Beit Din try the rule. If he does not respect the Beit Din or he does not come, then they will give you a referral to go to the authorities and do what you have to do. Sometimes it's mitzvah to report someone to the authorities. Not for personal reasons. Because, like I said before, it could be a pedophile that rapes hundreds or thousands of kids. They have to have a record of someone like this. Someone that is mentally sick, but is also violent and dangerous. He can hurt people. He already tried to stab one. He threw something at someone. He drove like crazy on the streets and banged into cars. I've seen cases like this. Then you have to tell the police there is someone that go from one person to another and scam them. Scam. Give me money, I'll give you such and such. Fonzie scam. Like we've seen a few times, unfortunately, in the Jewish world. If you know this person is a professional crook and that's what he does, take money from people, pay them a month or two and then eat their money, then you can give him a warning to stop and to return all the money, and if he doesn't, that's mitzvah to report him. But again, Rabotai, nobody does anything before you consult with a big rabbi, Talmid Chacham. Not everyone who knows how to give nice lectures on YouTube, even if the lectures are kosher, it means he's a Talmid Chacham that knows halakha when it comes to these kind of laws. Dinei Mamonot is very difficult. There's millions of halachot when it comes to Dinei Mamonot. There is hundreds of thousands scenarios, laws between neighbor, interest, business, stock market, vending machines, so many things. Works on Shabbat, doesn't work on Shabbat, directly, indirectly, Jews, Goyim, it potential life risk, no life risk, you have intention, you don't have intention, it was direct move, indirect move, all this millions of things, there's so much to know. Take a judge in a Supreme Court of the United States with all his life dealing with this kind of topics, he still doesn't know 5% of what a big Talmid Chacham in a Beit Din knows. Because we are much more makpid on so many things that the Goyish court doesn't even care about. By us, there's, like I said, literally, when I said there are millions of halachot, literally millions of halachot. They have tens of thousands of thick books with questions and answers. You can learn it from now until the end of your life, 50 years, and still don't know 5% of how much to know. Even the Dayanim that are 40 years working in Jewish court, they always have cases that they still need to stop and go and review sometimes for days until they write a psak halacha. Consult with all the Chachamim. It's not so simple, Rabotai. So you, obviously, the average listener, before you do something that, God forbid, can make you lose your share to the world to come, consult. You can ask me. Things that I will know for sure to answer, I will answer. Things that I'm not sure, even 1% doubt, I will refer to my rabbi, who is a huge genius, Talmid Chacham, one of the biggest in the world, Baki in all the Torah and Kabbalah, and I can ask him. And I have also a few other Talmidei Chachamim to consult with, so at least you get a good answer. You know when you come in front of Hashem, you will have an answer. Why did you do that? The rabbi told me, after I asked him what to do. Okay, so I did what the Torah said. You're clear and free from any punishment. You understand why? Because you're not doing. I'm not a doctor. I don't know how to cure people. I asked the doctor what medicine to take. He told you to take the wrong medicine. He's responsible. This is how it goes, Rabotai. Even in secular life, it works in a similar way. You go to a doctor. If the local doctor doesn't know, he's not a specialist, he will refer you to a bigger doctor or a specialist about the problem that you have. You will need referral. And that's how it goes. We move on. We have the spies, and the spies said everything basically accurate. However, why they got punished? Why Hashem got angry in the entire Jewish nation? For a few reasons. Reason number one, I already told you it's a good land. Therefore, no matter what you hear, it should have never bothered you. I, God, say it's a good land and I'm taking you there. And you're going to occupy the place and I'm kicking the 7 nations out. You didn't trust me? You wanted to send spies? Be my guest. What for? Strategy. How to occupy, how to attack. After all, it took 7 years to occupy the land. And 7 more years later, it took to divide the land to the tribes, to do the measurement and all that. It took time. They didn't have the equipment we have today. Probably today it would take 2 months. But back then, it was a primitive world. So first of all, you did not trust my promise, number one. Number two, why the spies speak against Israel? They say the truth. They saw funeral, they saw wars, they saw giants, they saw all of that. Why in that case they are punished? They gave an accurate report. Because to begin with, they had an agenda. Politicians, it's very common today. I have an agenda. Now let me see through the Torah or through reality how I justify my agenda to get what I want. Meaning, if something will be against my agenda, I will know how to shave it off. I will know how to sugarcoat it. I will know to find some source out of nowhere and back up my actions. No matter what, it will happen the way I want it. And how it's going to happen, leave the technical issues to me. I'll fix it up. But it will happen one way or the other. This is obviously against Hashem. That's against the Torah, against the truth. So now, everything they say was actually the other way around, even though they describe what they saw. Why they saw so many funerals? Hashem made the Goyim busy, bury tons of people. Why? That they won't have time to see that there are spies looking around. Strangers came here. What are they doing in our country? They did not pass through Homeland Security. They did not stamp their passports. How they walk around here? How they enter the land? How the soldiers never saw them? Why? Everyone is in funeral. And we have to ask a question, why everyone was in a funeral? Is it fair that Hashem will kill thousands of Goyim just because he wants the spies to go free to protect them? Is it fair just to kill the Goyim have no life? Were they not people? Even on animals we would ask this question, why Hashem will kill, let's say, 5,000 dogs in order to save them? There's other ways around. Hashem could have made miracles without killing the Goyim. The answer is, Rabotai, Hashem did not kill any new Goyim. This was all Goyim that died before. So why they didn't bury them? Because they had a rule over there in the land of Canaan that when a lot of people die, they keep them in an isolated place. Obviously the smell of the body is awful, so they put them in a place, but not buried yet. And they wait until some big righteous person in the land will die. When he dies, the Goyim believe that when they bury everyone together in the same time they bury him, since he goes to heaven, they will all go with him to heaven. That's some kind of false beliefs they had. Who died the same time when the spies were walking in Israel? Yov. Very righteous person. There's a part in the Tanakh, book of Yov, Job. He was one of the advisors of Pharaoh. He was the good one. He was the one that, well, it could have been better, but it wasn't like Bilam. Bilam gave an advice to kill all the babies. Yov ran away. He didn't want to say yes, didn't want to say no. He said, whatever I'm going to say, I'm going to get into trouble. So Yitro, the father-in-law of Moshe Rabbeinu, he was the one that said you should not do it. His merit was that his son-in-law was the most important person ever lived on this earth, Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses. But Yov did not say kill the babies. He didn't want to kill the Jewish babies. At the same time was afraid to say don't kill them, so he ran away. Good, you ran away, nobody asked question. And for that he got tons of suffering, and his children died, and lost all his money, and got sicknesses, all kinds of things like that. This is Yov, and Yov was righteous. The Gemara said he was righteous. He was buried at the same time, and they were all busy right away, quickly take all the relatives and bury them at the same time, that these spies can go from one place to the other. This is how Hashem organized it. Instead of appreciating the efforts that Hashem had to do to organize all this, they looked at it as the land that buried their citizen. When there were walls around, it's not an indication that the people are strong. It's actually an indication that they are weak. When you are strong, you don't need to build walls, thick walls around you. Everything is open. I have solid army. Who's going to mess with me? But they say, oh, we won't be able to break those walls. We don't have the ability, the capacity. Our army is not trained enough to go into such war with 7 nations here. Meaning, Hashem is not strong enough to defeat them. That's really what comes out of it. Now it's their political interpretation. Nobody asks you to be an interpreter, to analyze what can be done, what cannot be done. Nobody asks you that. We just ask you, bring me a report, meaning take pictures in your mind and tell me. There's no cameras. Take pictures and tell me what did you see, and that's it. Don't say we won't be able to do it. That's what it is. For one sentence that they say, Lo nuchal lahem, we will not be able to overcome this goyim. For that, Hashem got very upset and very angry at us, and we paid the price. Also, we have to be very careful not to speak Lashon Hara about the land of Israel. Remember, Lashon Hara, it's the truth. If you make up lies, it makes it worse. And this is only a land. The land doesn't have feelings. You don't hurt anyone's feeling. You're not embarrassing anyone. No one is sitting home and crying. It's only a piece of material. What's the land? Sand, trees, rocks. What is the land? Because it's precious to God, this land, once you speak about things that may look derogatory, immediately it's a sin. You're not allowed. And we saw how Hashem got angry at them. For instance, in Israel, the weather in the summer is very hot and humid. If you come and say, oh, I suffer, you suffer, it's so hot, wow, it's hot, you say the truth, you're not lying. But by the way you speak about it, meaning actually without realizing, not intentionally, and we all make that mistake. We have to sometimes fix our mistakes, not sometimes, for sure. So without realizing, you're actually saying that the land that God gave us, it's not so great. In other parts of the world, the weather is better. Whether it's true or not, even if it's true, you don't speak like that. If you speak about the wicked people who runs this country, that's a different story. You're not speaking about the land of Israel, the Holy Land. You're speaking about people in a government who wants to promote gay parades. People who wants to give Israel to the Palestinian fakers. Oh, that's mitzvah to speak about these wicked people. Mechalelei Shabbat, as I said, Halacha said, Chafetz Chaim, you're allowed to speak Lashon Hara about Mechalel Shabbos. Mechalel Shabbos cut himself out of the Jewish nation. As long as he does not observe the Sabbath, he's counted like a non-Jew. And the Torah say you're not allowed to speak Lashon Hara about your brother, Amitcha. Or when it says you should love your brother like you love yourself, Ve'afta le'reacha kamocha, the Gemara explained, Reacha lamitzvot, only a colleague of you that also believe in Hashem and follow the Torah. Mistakes everyone makes. But in general, he comes to shul, he puts tefillin, he keeps Shabbat, he has tzitzit, yarmulke. He's a religious man. He eats kosher only. Him, you have to love like you love yourself. Not people who rebel against Hashem. Not all these Erev Rav who try to destroy the Torah and make Israel a land of goyim. There are no mitzvah to love them. You have to separate from them. Even to say hello to them, you're not allowed. People that fight the Torah and speak in the Israeli Knesset to destroy the yeshivot and close them and fight against synagogue and fight against religious and every other speech they speak like Nazis against the Haredim, non-stop. People like this, you have to kiss up to them. You're allowed to give them compliments. You're not allowed to say hello to them. Hello, you're not allowed. If there's an idol worshipping, you're not allowed to ask him how you're doing. How are you? I'm worried about you. Or to give him a blessing. You give a blessing to idol worshipper that makes God angry every minute of his life. You bless him to be successful. You give a blessing to a thief that makes a lot of people miserable. You give a blessing to Mechalel Shabbat who rebelled directly against God and is so ungrateful to him that he told him Shabbat is the covenant between me and the Jewish nation. You have to publish me to the world that I created the world in 6 days. In the 7th day I striked, I rested, meaning I did not create anything. And you go and kiss up to him and tell him how great you are. It's against the halacha. Read in a book Orchot Tzadikim. That's the most important Musar book in Judaism. And they have it in English also. Chapter 24. Chanufa, Chanefim. The name of the chapter is Kissing Up. Please read this carefully 3 times and you understand where I'm bringing you all the sources. It's a good collection, who you allow to kiss up to and who you're not allowed to kiss up to. After you read this was almost 1,000 years ago. It's not someone that somebody wrote 20 years ago, right? It's a very high level of Torah. That's where you see what's allowed, what's not allowed. Not by listening to these heresy speakers. No. They sometimes don't know what they're talking about, and sometimes on purpose they modify the Torah for personal gain. Don't take the word for it. When they tell you have to love everyone, I'll give you another example. A lot of people say, sometimes even important rabbis, surprisingly, I'm surprised how they don't know such a simple halacha. They say you have to judge every human being favorably. Meaning if you saw that he made a sin, give him the benefits of the doubt. Don't suspect him. You saw him coming to the store, putting something in his pocket, looking around. Don't suspect him. Why? Maybe it's pikuach nefesh. Maybe someone is dying now and doesn't have money on him. He has to take it tomorrow. He's going to come and give them the money. Could be a life risk. Yes, it could be a life risk. You see someone drives a car on Shabbat. Maybe it's a life risk. Why is suspecting that he's mechalel Shabbat? Right? The answer is wrong. We have clear, solid rules. You must give the benefits of the doubt to every person that has a status of a kosher person. Meaning, if a person is known in a community as Shomer Shabbat, he's observing Shabbat for 10 years, 20 years, every Shabbat in the synagogue, never drives a car. And now you saw him driving on Shabbat, you must say to your children who saw it, don't worry, he probably has his wife giving birth. Oh, chas v'shalom, let's go read Tehillim for him. Let's read some prayers for him. Why? Maybe chas v'shalom, someone got sick in his house and there's a life risk. If he drives on Shabbat, probably something happened. But if you saw a Jew that for all his life, he drives on Shabbat. Every Shabbat drives to the beach, drives to work. Your neighbor, 20 years, every Shabbat starts the car 9 a.m. and go and drive and come back. 20 years you see it. And now you saw him driving on Shabbat. And your son asks you, Abba, why is the neighbor driving on Shabbat? What do you have to tell him? Oh, his wife probably giving birth. What are you going to say next Shabbat? Oh, it's a life risk. What are you going to say next Shabbat? You're going to run out of lies, no? You're not allowed to give someone like that the benefits of the doubt. Not allowed. It's not that you don't have to. You're not allowed. He has a chazakah of Rasha. And Reshaim, you don't compliment them, you don't protect them, lo melamdim alem zchut. You don't learn the benefits of the doubt on them. Nothing. If someone is known as a big thief, he was convicted already a few times in Beit Din for stealing, for borrowing and not paying back ever. Give him the benefits of the doubt, thousands of people would lose their money by them. Do you want to go and give Madoff the benefits of the doubt? Imagine Madoff would be released now. So, he's very sick. Release him. And he's back in business. Someone asks you about him. Based on those people who teach the wrong Torah, you have to say, oh, he's a big tzaddik. He's great. What? Every Jew is a tzaddik. No one ever stole. The Torah, there's no mitzvah to be stupid. There's no mitzvah to be a fool. There's no mitzvah to be naive. There are rules. If is a person who known not to be a thief, never heard about him, no one ever complained that he's a thief. Somebody asks you about him, hey, by the way, I think this guy stole money, I don't want to accept it, I don't believe it, don't speak like that, this person known as a kosher person. If he's a well-known thief, you must believe it. If the police came to your house and something disappeared, and there were 100 people in a party, and one of them has a reputation of the thief, you have to tell the policeman, check by him first. And if the police would not find anything by him, you don't have to apologize to him. I did not embarrass you. You brought it on yourself. That's what the Torah says. You have a chazakah of a ganav. Your status is known to be a thief. We go by status. If you see a person walking in the street without a kippah, without tzitzit, his sideburns are cut above the bone, he has no signs of being religious, you have to assume he's not religious, a goy. So therefore, if there are things in Jewish ceremonies that you need 10 Shomrei Shabbat, you cannot count him. If later he's going to come and say, hey, I'm Shomer Shabbat, why you didn't count me? It's your problem, not ours. Why you walk in the street without kippah? Why you walk without tzitzit? Why your beard is cut all the way and above where it's permitted? How am I supposed to know? What do you think? Every person on the street, I'm going to ask him if he's religious, if he's Shomer Shabbat? We go by what we see. That's what the Gemara say, En la dayan ela ma she'enav ro'ot. Okay, so Rabotai, before I finish, I just want to say a few words about the next parasha that will be. I know it doesn't apply, it's for exile, it's for Israel. We have in this upcoming parasha, after the spies, we have Korach, gathered 250 people against Moshe. Korach heard Hashem nominated Moshe Rabbeinu to be the leader. He heard that Hashem say Aaron is a Kohen and the father of the Kohanim. All of that he heard. He saw that Hashem spoke to Moshe and to nobody else in public. The first 2 commandments, Hashem spoke. It's written, Moshe ידבר והאלוקים יעננו בקול. Hashem answered him with voice. Korach was jealous. He was a family of Moshe. He was supposed, by the right order of birth, he was supposed to get a better job. But Hashem said to Moshe, this is the way I want things. Not Moshe, Hashem. His ego was hurt. He was insulted. And he started to make a revolution against Moshe Rabbeinu. What was his end? The land opened up and swallowed him and 250 chief leaders together with him. They all died with their family, animals, everything. Why? They made a machloket. The Gemara speaks very bad against machloket, not to make disagreements, not to make fights, argument, politics. Unfortunately, today, almost every place you go, yeshivot, synagogues, have machlokot inside between the people. Read this way, read that way, sit here, don't sit there. The rabbi should speak 15 minutes, he should speak 5 minutes. It's too long. We should start this time, we should start that time. So what if the gabbai wants like this? We want like this. We don't want the women to sit there. We want to open, we want to close. Forget about it. People cannot behave. I wish people would understand that the most important thing in life is to fix your midot, your character, your traits. You can be a robot that keep mitzvot, keep Shabbat, put tefillin, pray, everything like a robot. But you're still the same rotten person after 30 years of being Shomer Shabbat. Same rotten person. I see it everywhere I go. I see it everywhere I go. I see how people talk. I see how they behave. I see a word is not a word. Someone say to you, I'm going to be at 1 o'clock by you. 3 o'clock is not there and he's not even calling to apologize. I'm not on the way. This is a religious person. That's a religious person. Someone that abuses his family, his wife, this is a religious person. Do you understand, Rabotai? So, if you're not going to fix yourself, what exactly are you going to say to God when you stand in front of Him after being religious for 70 years? He's going to ask you, are you a proud person? Over there it's the world of truth. You cannot say no. You're going to have to say exactly the truth. And you're going to have to say yes, very much. Are you a jealous person? Very much. Are you a liar? Very much. Are you a crook? Very much. Are you a deceiver? Very much. Are you not modest and watch things you're not supposed to? Very much. Are you angry? Ooh, very much. I almost kill people every day. Are you selfish? Very much. Are you stingy? Very much. Where are you going to hide? What are you going to say? I was Shomer Shabbat, eating chulent and gaining 300 pounds every year. That's religion? Or what would you say? I went to the mikveh every morning before I daven? Or at the same time you steal from people and you make chilul Hashem by the goyim when you deal with them in business? There are things that are extremely, extremely critical. Bad behaving brings tragedies to the Jewish nation. Right now we saw the riots in New York. We saw how the Goyim hates the Jews, at least half of them like Nazis. We saw it in our eyes. The internet is full of what they write. They blame the Jews. For what? Every one of them had at least one bad experience with at least one Jew. That's all it needs. One with his landlord, one with the lawyer that representative or sued him, went against him, or with the judge who sent him to prison, or with the judge who disrespected him. Or it's enough that one time a Jew did something bad near him or to him, that now him and his entire friends and family will all be Jew haters. That's why Chilul Hashem is so dangerous. That's why there's no repentance for it until the day of death. There's no way to repent until a person dies. Why? Because it makes such damage to the reputation of the chosen people. We have extra responsibility. I've been saying it for years. Be very careful how you behave to these goyim, to minorities, to the blacks, to the Puerto Ricans, to the white Americans, to all of them. Even if some of them behave like monsters and they're violent and they're liars and they steal and they're dangerous and they do horrible things, as we also in our eyes, how they rob the entire Manhattan and Los Angeles and other places. These people are already in a level of animals or worse. But still, we should not do something to ignite them even more. I'm not saying I have to start bow down to them and kiss their feet like some idiots do now, which I saw a few videos like this. That destroys the country even more. But at least don't give anybody a reason to hate us. All you need is one wacko to come and shoot. Finishing with a lot of people still asking after my previous English lecture if to move to Israel or not. I think I was pretty clear, but I'll make it even more clear. There is no general answer to all Jews. Even though now it's bad times, more dangerous times, the future of America doesn't look good at all. We all know it. We're not stupid. We see where it's going. It's impossible for any rabbi, anyone, to come and say, all Jews must come back to Israel. No, it doesn't work out. You can say what I say. If you have money, prepare your move to Israel. If you can buy a place, start doing it. If you can send some of your money to Israel, do it. Because you never know. You may have 1 day or 2 days that you have to get up, pack your stuff and leave before it's going to be too late. Remember, when Hitler came to some countries, a few days later they closed the borders. If these Jew haters will take over after Trump falls, you don't know what they can do. The next thing they're going to say, Jews cannot live without special permission. What's the permission? We have to go through their papers and how much money they have. They're going to have to pay a fine and fee that they're leaving the country. They did it in Iran, they did it in Russia, they did it in Libya, they did it in Spain and Portugal. They can do it here as well. It's nothing different. It's the same anti-Semite people, descendants of Amalek. To think that everything will go back to normal, that's a little bit over-optimistic. Everything is in the hand of Hashem. Everything is possible. But it's more likely that the hatred of these cruel people that you saw how dangerous they are is probably not going anywhere. If any, with the social media and the horrible lefty media wants to kick the president out, they constantly bring all these things up and they don't care that they go and murder people or burn synagogue. The last thing they worry about. Even liberal Jews, reporters, with their hatred to the president and he's so good for Israel and for the Jews, they help the enemies of Israel as long as they will serve their personal agenda to kick him out of the White House. These traders, as I've been speaking about them for years already, from day one, even before Trump was elected. But I don't want to take it to politics right now. I just want to speak about what the Jews have to do. The best advice I can give each one, those who can prepare a backup plan that one day they'll have to go and leave, do it. Now it's the time to do it. Even transfer some of the money, because you never know. Maybe one day you won't be able to take your money out of here and they can freeze your bank account just because you're Jewish. Everything is possible. Don't dream that it's democracy, they follow you, they tell your phone, they do everything where you are. We already know it. It's all baloney. There's really no freedom of speech. You only have freedom of speech if you're a lefty trader. If you're a righty or a religious person, you're not allowed to speak against abortion, you're not allowed to speak for Trump. If you do it, they look at you like you're crazy. They brainwash the whole world with their nonsense and pro-gay agenda and abortion and everything that Hashem hates. And the Zohar said that they will rule the world before the Messiah would come. And it's written in Mizmor Shir Le'yom HaShabbat in Psalms. It's written, it's a prophecy to the end of the world. It's written, Ish ba'ar lo yeda uchsi lo yavin et zot. A fool and an ignorant will not know what? Before Achreshaim Kmo Yosef, that the wicked people are popping up like weeds everywhere. What for? Vayatzritzu kol po'alei aven, those who are the most wicked will rise above everyone, meaning they'll be in the headlines, in control. And what's the bottom line? The end of the verse, leishamdam de'ad, to destroy them for eternity. Moments before God will destroy all these lefty, liberal, haters of religion, haters of God, haters of the Jewish people, haters of Torah, haters of ethic, haters of everything God's love. Before He will destroy them, He gives them one last strength to control and fulfill their evil plans until He will wipe them out from eternity and put them in a place where they deserve to be for eternity. It's written, it's not my opinion. That's what's written. We don't want to be, God forbid, in that side. We don't want to rule now 10, 20 years and then Chas v'Shalom suffer for millions of years. So we have to make repentance. A part of our repentance, we have tried now to evaluate the situation. We have to prepare a place in Israel that we will be able to move there. What about those who don't have money? They own a house. In order for them to buy a house in Israel, they would have to sell first the house in America. It will be very difficult to sell millions of homes. If you have 6 million Jews in America, at least 4 million of them don't consider themselves Jewish or Israeli or anything to do with Israel, as the survey show. So they're not going to run to Israel. If they will run, they'll run to a different country. So I'm not worried about them. They're not even interested to go to Israel, okay? They don't look at themselves with any connection to Israel. Many of them married to non-Jews. They're probably going to run to their country, Italy, Ireland, Germany, Africa, anywhere they came from. So that's not a problem. But at least about 2 million, approximately, Jews, those religious and those who are traditional, those who are, pro-Israel, they would want to run to Israel. And they probably have hundreds of thousands of homes here in America. It will be very difficult to send hundreds of thousands of homes, especially when the Jews live in certain areas. Some parts of Brooklyn, in Long Island, in other places, in Los Angeles, Jewish community, all of a sudden you're going to put hundreds of homes for sale. Let's be realistic. Most of the Goyim won't even have enough money to buy these big, nice, fancy homes. So they're all going to go to the garbage, as history always repeats. That's what happened in every time the Jews had to escape from Iran, from Spain, from Portugal, from Libya. They left everything and ran with a little bit to whatever they could take. Smuggled themselves out of the border. Yes, I know it sounds not realistic. I know people thinking, what is he thinking? But things that I say a few months ago, people laugh. Remember when I say go stuff the house on food, it's going to be 10 hours to wait online to the supermarket. People would fight for food here. It will be riots here. Go to the February lectures before the corona started in America. And listen, everything I say unfortunately happened. It's not me. I'm not a prophet. I don't have a Ruach HaKodesh. It's very simple common sense. A process began. Most likely, that's where it's going to end. That's it. You don't have to be a prophet to know it. Some people have a little bit vision to the future based on common sense. Some people not. Those who don't have to listen to those who have a vision. Why? Because you have to be prepared. It doesn't mean it's going to happen for sure. But there's a very high chance. Those who are a young couple, they just got married, they don't even have kids, or they have one baby, and they rent a place here, and they barely have an income. What do they have to lose to move to Israel? They have nothing special here, no assets, nothing special. The situation in Israel will be more or less the same. At least they restart their life before their children grow and they can become Israelis, and it will be easier for them. Later, when you move with kids, when they're older already, it will be very, very, very difficult. Different mentality. Not all yeshivot will accept American kids. It's different level, different speech, different way of learning. The kids sitting in a class not knowing Hebrew, the Israeli kids, they speak fast Hebrew, he doesn't understand. It's not going to be easy for these kids. If they're very young, the kids learn very fast languages. Within a year they'll learn. They even get the accent of the place when they're young. But later on, when they're 16, 17, it's very difficult. They're in the middle. Some people are in college right now. They already paid, they have another year to finish. They're thinking, I took student loan, $100,000, $200,000. What am I going to do? Move to Israel in the middle? Let me at least become an engineer or something. finish something? That's a very big question. Also, before you move ever, don't ever move just because the situation is dangerous, and I'll tell you why, and we'll finish here. We have a rule in the Torah. When there is physical life risk or spiritual life risk, meaning a risk for the soul, that you go down on a religious level, you go off the derech, like we say, meaning your neshama will go down on a spiritual level. There's two kinds of pikuach nefesh. There's pikuach nefesh for the body. You can get killed. People can come to the house and burn it. People can shoot at you. People can beat you up on the street, like it happened before the Holocaust, and now it's beginning to happen here. That's pikuach nefesh of the body. It's terrible, but it's not the worst. There is something 1,000,000 times worse, at least, or maybe 1,000,000,000 times worse. It's hard to say how much worse, but a lot worse. Pikuach nefesh of the soul, meaning, the Gemara say a rule, it's a principle in the Torah. Gadol hamachtio yoter min haorgo. If a person make another person become not religious, he was religious, you convinced him to be not religious, with the heresy, with all kinds of things you did. You took him to places with no modesty, women, who knows what, and you made that person stop being religious. It's count that you murder his soul, not his body, which is much worse. If you just get up based on your own opinion, take your family, your children, buy a house in Israel, move the children to Israel, and now they have no yeshivot, no place, they're beginning to walk in the street, they see things they're not supposed to see, you don't have chevruta, you don't have a synagogue, everything is totally messed. And your entire family will become eventually not religious and broken apart. You did something much worse than staying in America and get beaten up by these monsters who wants Jewish blood. It's better to die religious here than to go to Israel, get saved and not to die, and to kill the neshama. This is what people have to remember. That's why even if time of pikuach nefesh, when it's real pikuach nefesh, really that they begin to attack your hometown, and you're afraid to even walk on the street with the yarmulke, which I suggest regardless to walk with a baseball hat. It's also, you have to cover the head. How to cover the head is not so critical. If you can get less attention for anti-Semite people on the street, it's better. It could be people that look to stab you or to rob you or to who knows what. You walk with a baseball hat, they won't know exactly who you are. That's a side recommendation. And if you say, I saw one person made a comment on my other lecture that I say that, where is the trust in Hashem? That's a comment of an ignorant person who doesn't know any Torah. The Torah, the Gemara say clearly, you're not allowed to count on a miracle. Hashem can save you, but he's going to need to perform a miracle. If you go to a dangerous area with lots of monster anti-Semites, that means Hashem will have to make a miracle for them not to hurt you, but he's going to take away from your merit. Why do you want to lose your merit? Because you insist to walk with the yarmulke. Second, when the danger is routine, meaning everyday danger, then the rule of someone that is busy with mitzvah have a special protection does not apply. And only applies in a normal world, that there's no danger in that place. At least nothing to expect. But if you go to Gaza now and walk with the yarmulke and tzitzit when the Hamas murderers walking around, if you didn't get killed, you lost thousands of your mitzvot, the merit. Why? Hashem had to perform a miracle that some good Arab hid you and smuggled you out of Gaza. If you're going to go every day to Gaza, you will die there, even if you're righteous. Why? It's a place of danger. They hate you over there. They want to kill you. They want to kidnap you. Why are you entering this place to begin with? So if you can enter that with a custom, dress like an Arab or something, like some of the Israeli spies do, okay. Why they don't come with the Israeli flag? Because they know they're going to get killed. Use common sense. Common sense, it's life-saving. So this is what I'm saying. Before you make a decision, you must go and sit, your wife, sit with the rabbi, tell him all the good, all the bad, in any given week. as the situation escalates and gets worse, you're still not allowed to make decisions on your own. There's a lot of things, some factors you did not consider. Ask him what's going to be, where you want to go to Israel, where you want to buy a house, and what kind of parnasa you're going to have there, and where you're going to put the children, in what schools. Did you check about schools? Did you consult with some relative, someone that can go around and check for you? One person told me, I already found yeshiva for my kids. They agreed to accept them. I just need to get my money to sell my car, and I'll be able, as soon as they approve me for Aliyah, I'll be able to move. Okay, at least he's making his homework. I can tell you one thing, that to make Aliyah, to go to Nefesh Benefesh, apply, and until they approve you, and until they send you to the Israeli Sochnut, and until they will approve you, and until you get your Israeli citizenship, can take more than a year. I sent a message to the top authorities here in Israel a few days ago, through people that I know in the government, that they have to change the entire system of receiving Jews into Israel now. And someone told me that they're working on it. Soon it's going to become easier, I hope. Until it becomes easier, for the time being, not always you're going to have time for Nefesh Benefesh and the Israeli Sochnut until they approve you. You can come to Israel as a tourist. You walk into Israel. While you are in Israel, take care of your citizenship. Don't leave Israel. If you got an approval from your rabbi that knows you, and you felt that your life is in danger, and you have no parnasa here, your business went down the drain, and your children don't have any way good yeshiva, and the rabbi told you move to Israel right now, you don't need to wait to this entire process. You come to Israel and you apply while you're here. You go to the Israeli Misrad Apnim, they'll tell you what to do. And Israel, it's not like America. In America, they give you a visa for 3 months. If you pass over the time, you can never enter America ever again. That's why people are afraid. They don't want to stay over what the visa say. In Israel, you don't have a problem. You can stay for years, the police will never catch you and they never throw you out, and even if they know you're there for years, nobody will do anything. You're going to be able to get health insurance, pay kupat cholim, your children will be able to learn in yeshiva, everything as a regular citizen, especially if you're Jewish. Even if you're not Jewish, even if your father is Jewish and your mother is not Jewish, you still have the right to settle in Israel. That's the law here over here. It's called Chok HaShvut. And while you're here, you take care of your papers. You don't sit here and wait. By that time, you starve or you get killed if the situation will escalate. I try not to answer all the questions that people ask me in the last 10 days since I made my last lecture. For sure, I forgot a lot of things. But Bezrat Hashem, on the next lecture that I will make, I will see what I forgot and I will try to clarify some more things. Thank you very much for everyone. Have a wonderful week. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen ve'amen.